following is a special presentation of the Arkansas Sports Network.
Hello and welcome back into the Arkansas Sports Network exclusive interviews. And with me, I've got Coach Reggie Swinton of Jacksonville. Coach, I appreciate you joining us here on, I guess, what's turned out to be a pretty rainy day. Got a great facility here at Jacksonville, and we're excited to talk about what's going on with your program. Also, just kind of talk about your background, get some thoughts from you. But, man, we want to start out with, I have known Reggie Swinton for years, back before even a Dallas Cowboy, I believe. Now, were you a Twister before Cowboy?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. So you all the way back to Arkansas Twisters, but even before that, you played for Houston Nutt and Murray State.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that experience. Tell us some, you've got to have a good story about Houston Nutt, right?
Yeah, well, so he come to get me out of Central High School, where I was one of the top receivers in the state of Arkansas in '93.
Yeah.
And I was looking to go to Arkansas. That was my dream coming up, was to be a Razorback. And no other school at that time mattered to me. And so I had Memphis State, I had Tulsa, I had Washington State. So those guys were on me, Miami. But when it came down to it, I didn't pass the ACT test in time.
Mm-hmm.
And so all those schools stopped recruiting me. And Murray State, kept coming after me. And so when I finally passed the ACT test on my last time, I got a phone call. Well, no, I called Coach Danny Nutt.
Yeah.
And told him I passed. And at that time, they only had books left. So it was no full scholarship. It was books only. So it was, take that or leave it.
Wow.
And so I took it and I walked on at Murray. And I remember getting there the first day for the freshmen and went to run the 40-yard dash and L drill and, broad jump. And I ran a 4.55 back to back.
Yeah.
And I remember Coach Nutt came to me and said, son, he said, I thought you were faster. I'm going to have to redshirt you. And he don't know how much that pissed me off.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was better than every guy there.
Yeah.
I went to the spring game and I seen it. And so that made me just kind of buckle in during camp. And during camp that year, I only dropped one ball that touched my hand.
Yeah.
And I went from getting redshirted to playing and having 9 catches, but for 270-some yards and 2 touchdowns. And so I kind of made my mark my first year. And from that point on, Coach Nutt, he knew I was real.
Yeah. You guys had a good run over there at Murray. I remember, hearing about Houston. Now, at that time, I'm pretty young, but I'm starting to get my feet underneath me a little bit and understand a little bit more about what's going on around the game in the state of Arkansas. Houston Nutt, obviously, my senior year of high school, he took over at Arkansas. But I remember hearing about Murray and the things that were going on at Murray. It's just vague, but I do remember hearing it. So you had some success over there.
I had a lot of success up there. They put me in the Hall of Fame in November of 22. And they say I'm the most prolific receiver in Murray's history. Yeah. I don't know. That's what they say. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But we had a great run at Murray State, and I had a really good quarterback in Mike Cherry.
Yes.
And a really good receiver in Jesse Jones that took some of the pressure off me. Yeah. So it wasn't just about me. A really good running back, and Derek Cullors and Anthony Downs. So it was a whole slew of guys that made it work. Yeah. Coach Nutt had 17 guys on the team that was from Arkansas.
Yes.
So they called us the Racerbacks.
Okay. Yeah.
And we just, cherished the moment, had really great memories up there in Murray, Kentucky. And looking back on it, man, like he used to always tell us, these are the best days of your life.
Yes.
And we didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And we found out that those were truly the best days of our lives.
Yeah.
As young teenagers.
Yeah. What kind of influence did Houston have on your life?
Man, that's crazy. Like, Coach Nutt is a lot of the reason why I am who I am. When I was there, I was a very immature young man. And Coach Nutt just took hold of me. And, he and Danny Nutt took hold of me and took me under their wings, and that they made sure that I was a good young man. And whenever I did something out of order, they would call my Uncle Mike.
Yeah.
They would call my parents. And so, them being from Central High School, me being from Central High School, they've been knowing me since I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
So they were vested in me personally. And Coach Nutt he's a father to me. And he just called me yesterday, and we talked for about 15 minutes.
Sure.
Just checking on me, seeing how I'm doing here in Jacksonville. He came down to a game here last year, came to a game in Forest City, and he'll be here again this year. We're very, very close.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing something wrong, he'll tell me. And, he gives me the advice. And I'm going to tell you one thing he told me when I got the job in Forest City. It's, it's my first high school job.
Yeah.
And, I don't exactly know what to do, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
And I called him and said, hey, Coach, what do I do for OC, offensive coordinator? He said, if you want to keep your job, you call your own plays.
Yeah.
And so I learned very quickly that if I'm going to get fired, it's going to be on my own merit.
Sure.
And I'm going to call my own plays. And so that was great advice he gave me. And I love that man to death. I can't say enough great things about him. He's been there for me a lot. Even when I was in Seattle in 2000, and he was coaching in Arkansas, and he was busy back then. And we were in training camp. And I remember not getting plays and not getting reps so I can show the staff what I could do. And I remember calling out and said, hey, Coach, man, they ain't giving me no reps. How am I going to show them that I can play ball? And he said something to me then that stuck with me to this day. And I tell my guys this. He said, don't count your plays, make your plays count.
Yeah.
So if they give you 2 plays, you go hard for 2 plays.
Yeah.
And those 2 plays become 4 plays. Those 4 become 10. And he was right because those 2 plays did become 10. And I was able to showcase my talent because I took the advice. So those type things that he did for me, and I love that man to death. That's my guy.
Yeah. Of course, as he was here 10 years, and as time goes on, it gets harder on coaches. You know that already. I know. I mean, every coach is already going through that in some capacity. But what I've found as time has went on and time gets further away from where he's been at Arkansas, I feel like people have become more fond of him because, he was such a successful coach here at Arkansas. Did he win the national championship? No, but it's hard to do.
Came close.
He came close. He did a couple times, actually.
Yeah.
And he recruited some guys. And you talk about being 4.55 and being too slow. That was one thing I remember about him was the ability to get speed on the field.
Yeah.
And he was something else here.
Well, you never miss a great thing until it's gone.
Sure.
And he caught a lot of flack for some things that back then he got accused of. But
Sure.
When he left, people were mad,
Right.
people were bitter. But over time, I've read people, I've heard the buzz where people talk about he should come be the AD.
Yeah.
And I remember Coach Nutt. I'm gonna tell you a story. So in 1995, in August, I was playing in the Final Four. That was with Syracuse and Carolina.
Yeah.
And he had a dinner at his house one night in Murray, and he invited only guys from here.
Yeah.
Only Arkansas guys. And he told us that night, this is no lies, that night, that his dream job was to be a Razorback coach.
Yeah.
And then one day become AD. He said that back in 1995. And, one dream came true. But he truly, truly loved Arkansas.
Yeah.
And he knew he wouldn't be in Murray long, and he made the best of it while he was there.
Yeah.
But he was truly a Razorback at heart. And when I was at Murray, I can't lie, I rooted against Arkansas because they didn't sign me. And when he became the coach, I became a Razorback diehard fan again.
Yeah.
Right? And so when he went to Ole Miss, I caught a lot of hell for supporting Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But what people got to realize is that guy gave me a chance out of high school when no one else would. No other coach wanted me. And so I would always say is Murray State or McDonald's. Who knows where I would be today if it wasn't for Houston Nutt. So wherever he went, I became a fan of that school because that's what gave me a shot.
Yeah.
And I'm going to follow that guy wherever he goes and coaches. And I can call him. He's always been there for me. So you can't tell me anything bad about him because I won't allow it.
You ain't listening. You ain't hearing it.
And I'll defend him.
Yeah.
Because I know what type of person he is.
Sure.
And I know what he did for me.
Sure.
And that's what matters.
Right.
And I know what he did for other players. And we talk about this. And the Murray State guy, we have a group, and we all talk, and we talk about our best days in Murray. And we can't mention those days without mentioning Houston Nutt.
Yeah.
We would run through a brick wall for that guy. That's how he made us feel.
Right.
And he still makes us feel that way
Sure.
when he speaks to us. So we're going to defend our coach.
That's great stuff. Mentioned about Coach Nutt. You mentioned something about him being AD. No, there's been some talk about that a little bit at Arkansas. I don't know right or wrong on that, but I do feel like he probably has a place. He should have a place at Arkansas because he does love. He used to say, "I love that helmet. I love that helmet." And the thing about it is when you love a place, you're going to give it your heart and soul. Of course,
Yeah.
Houston Nutt, he's just that guy.
Yeah. Well, and I talked to him a couple weeks ago as well, and he told me he was excited for Coach Silverfield.
Yeah.
Because he said that Coach Silverfield is the only coach that's reached out to him
Yes.
since he's left, and he appreciated that.
Sure.
He wants to be involved. He loves the Razorbacks, and when the Razorbacks aren't doing well, it doesn't make him feel good. Sure he went to Ole Miss,
Right.
but he's a Hog.
Yeah.
He wore that helmet,
Right.
and so he wants the state to do well. He wants the Hogs to put a fence around the state.
Sure.
And I think that Silverfield and his staff doing a good job of that, trying to get it done. But Coach Nutt is a guy that wants the Razorbacks to always do well.
Yeah.
He doesn't harbor bitterness. Just all around great guy.
Well, you're a coach here in the state, and you mentioned Coach Ryan Silverfield and the things he's doing. Of course, you had a guy that committed to Kentucky. That don't mean you hate Arkansas in any way, or even the kid that hates Arkansas. Just maybe it's just the best place for him, and whatever the situation, they're always different, right? But you mentioned how you feel like that Coach Silverfield is doing a good job of trying to put that fence around the state again. Tell me how important you feel like it is for Arkansas kids to go to Arkansas. I know that, again, we in the context of we know that you
Right.
have one that committed to Kentucky, but what is it like you feel like about getting kids to go to the Razorbacks?
Well, yes, Mason Ball did commit to UK,
Yes.
and I'll tell you that reason here shortly. But for me growing up, I only wanted to be a Razorback, right? But that's because back then, that's who we saw on TV
Right.
or heard on the radio. We didn't see every team like we do every week now.
Right.
So it was thrown in our face. Nowadays, kids have a million options, and social media makes it that way. And so when Coach came in, he flipped some guys like Ja'Cory Smith out of Bryant, T.J. Hodges out of Bryant, Kennedy out of Central.
Mm-hmm.
He flipped some guys, and that was huge a couple of days before signing day.
Yes.
And being a Hog is special. And I really wish, although I love Murray State and I love the opportunity, I wish I had the opportunity to wear that Hog.
Yeah.
I don't know what that feel like. And I've always envied guys like Anthony Lucas and guys like Clint Sterner and Marjorie Hill and D-Mac because, those guys lived a dream that I wanted.
Sure.
Like my goal coming up was not to go pro, really. Like my job was to wear that Hog. I had two cousins who played at the same time, Otis Lloyd and James Rouse.
Yeah.
And so I was there watching them play when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. Being in that locker room with Ken Hatfield, and Freddie Childress, I was there. I seen it live firsthand. Yeah. And, my little league football team was called the Razorbacks. So that's all I ever wanted to be. So I think it's special. And the kids, when have the opportunity, should take advantage of it. Now, with me saying that, I want to transition over to Mason Ball. The new staff, they did a good job of recruiting him. But what people don't realize is the running back coach at Kentucky, that was Mason's first offer at Arkansas, Kobe Smith. He was a Razorback running back coach for the last 3 years.
Yes.
And so when he got let go by Arkansas, he had built that bond with Mason.
Mm-hmm.
And that bond was unbreakable, And so when that happened, I pretty much at that time, I figured where Mason may go. I wasn't 100% sure because then Vanderbilt came in and did a great job recruiting Mason. They offered him. And then when Coach Yak came, Coach Yak did a good job too. But I think it was a little bit too late. The bond had been already built from Arkansas. to Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And, Mason always said he would love to be a Hog, but what he wants is he wanted a relationship with a coach like he has with me.
Sure.
Because I've been coaching Mason since he was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And so he wanted that bond that he has with me. And Coach Smith came in and delivered that bond.
Yeah.
And then Coach Langford from Vanderbilt came in and delivered that bond. But the decision came down between the unofficial visit he had to Kentucky and to Vandy. And he felt like the entire staff at Vandy really wanted him. I'm sorry. UK wanted him.
Yeah.
And the staff at Vandy, only a few wanted him. This is what he told me.
Mm-hmm.
So he went with where his heart was and who he felt a connection with.
Sure.
Okay. Now, I'll tell you this. What I have loved, I've seen Mason Ball in a Razorback outfit. You damn right. You damn right. But I've lived my dreams.
Sure.
I've had my days. This is about this young man. And when he asked my advice, I gave it to him. I said, son, you pray about this. This is not your decision. You pray about this. The same way I prayed about coming to Jacksonville.
Right.
And I asked the Lord to show me signs. And I started seeing Titan logos and Titan trucks. So he was showing me a sign of where I should go. And when I told Mason to pray about this, he sent me a picture of 2 cars that had Kentucky license tag.
Yeah.
And I said, see, when you pray, the Lord will show you what you should do. Take this out of your hand and put that in his hand and give him all the glory when you do.
Yeah.
And he did that. So Razorback fans, listen, yes, we missed out on a really, really good running back, but we can't knock a kid for going where his heart was.
That's right.
With a coach that showed him love.
Right. Of course, today's football is that it might not work out at Kentucky, and he may come back to Arkansas or somewhere else.
Yeah.
For that matter, NIL, all that. I'd like to get your opinion on NIL, transfer portal, that sort of thing. Tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are.
Well, I think it's out of hand.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I think, should happen. And many people won't agree with this, but I think that kids should have to sign at least a 2-year contract, or if not, when you sign and you report, before you are able to transfer, you should have to go through a full football season, then an off-season spring, and another football season, another fall. Then if it doesn't work out, at that point in time, you and the staff would know, okay, he's not a good fit. He's been here for a year and a half or 2. He's not playing. Okay, let's agree to part ways. Now, as far as money, some say, well, how do you put a cap on money when you got tennis players, 16, 17 years old, making all this money? That's different. They're not in college.
Right.
And I'm all for kids getting paid. I'm not for kids making more than coaches in college.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, I've seen it over and over again in the pros. When players make more than coaches, the assistant coaches have no power unless they have a good relationship with that coach. And I've seen players disrespect coaches to the max, knowing they cannot get cut because they make more money.
Right.
So the coach is expendable, but the player's not. And that's how it's becoming now in college, where these kids are making more than the coach. So what can you tell me? You make $100,000 as a coach, and I make $400,000.
Right.
As a player. What can you tell me?
Right.
And this generation of kids now are so arrogant and disrespectful that it's bound to get to a point where it's going to be unbearable for everybody.
Right.
So I'm all for kids getting paid, but like I told people, I said the way it should happen is, let's just say you sign for $250. All right, you get half of that $250, right? $125, right? You get the other half of that $250 when you graduate and got them papers. So you sign a 1-year deal, $250, and your next deal, $300. Well, you get half of each deal. Well, the other half is predicated on you graduating.
Yeah.
So now there's money that's being saved for you when you graduate. If you don't go pro, you've got money saved up for you.
Right.
But I see kids now getting this money and buying jewelry and buying everything, which, I get it because I did it. But I'm 50 now. I'm smarter and wiser, right?
Yes.
Uh, and I believe in buying something, immediately, but then taking your next 7, 8 paychecks and being smart. Because these are 1-year deals,
Yeah.
not 4 or 5-year deals.
Well, I like that look. Kind of your perspective on all that. It's a really good perspective to have. You're in the throes of this now. I mean, I know you probably wish you could have got paid like some of
Yeah.
these kids are getting paid now when you were in school.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I got when I was at Murray, I remember not having money for washing powder.
Yeah.
And I told the coach, I said, hey, coach, I don't have any, washing powder. I need some. And I come down the very next day in my locker, and buried up under all my clothes was a big old box of Tide washing powder. And so in my 4 years at Murray, that's all I got.
Well, it's an extreme
Yeah.
from that, and as the Alabamas and the LSU's of the world, and I'm sure the Arkansas too. I mean, Eric Dickerson drove Texas A&M's Gold Trans Am to SMU, right? But it was, on one hand, you couldn't get washing powders, but now here you are, kids that may not play for 2 or 3 years, they're getting 300,000, 400,000 or more to go to a certain school. And we need to get off this topic and go to another one. But to me, this is me. I have to ask this question. Why does it have to be so much? You're talking about the coaches and all that. A kid gets $25,000, $30,000 to play football for a semester, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, and you don't have any expenditures, you don't have any health insurance concerns, you really don't even have to pay for your own food. To me, that seems like a good amount. But I'm not in those shoes. I'm not putting my body on the line, all of that. But from the outside looking in, especially in a college, now pro is totally different. But in the college ranks, 30, 40, even $50,000, a lot of money for a young man that's got out of high school, go play ball, get the opportunity to showcase their talent, to further themselves, not just academically, but even professionally.
Well, and they're even on scholarship, so they're literally paying for nothing. I think it should be capped at 100,000.
Yeah.
And that's still a bit much. But who am I to say a kid shouldn't get paid $4 million? If they're going to pay it, then take it.
Right.
But I think that the NCAA is losing control. They've lost control because it's out of hand now. I heard this last week that they were talking about, changing the rule that a kid can transfer one time.
Yeah.
And so if you mess around and use your mulligan early, then you're stuck there.
Right.
And now I like that. You should be able to transfer one time with no penalty.
Right.
And that'll cut out a lot of this transfer portal or parents or kids getting upset because their kid went there for one semester and didn't play, got redshirted. Like, redshirting was the thing back then. Now, if a kid gets redshirted, he thinks he can't play.
Sure.
Well, maybe you're behind 2 seniors who is going pro next year, and it's not your turn.
Right.
But you knew this before you signed.
Right.
So they got to find a way to get a hold of this. As a fan, you don't know who to call, don't know what name to call this year because you get used to a kid, now he's gone.
Yeah.
You're used to a kid, and that's how I feel about the Razorback basketball team.
Yeah.
Like, you get used to a kid, and he's gone. So, I stopped trying to keep up with names and just keep up with the excitement of the game.
Yep, I agree. Same way when it comes to football or basketball. You just don't know from one year to the next. I mean, to be able to go call some of these kids' names, because I cover high school football, these kids that are from Arkansas, yeah, I know who they are. But a lot of them, the rest of them, I don't know because they're mercenaries in a lot of ways. They come in, they play, they probably don't even finish the semester of school, and they're done. You know what I mean? But enough of that. Let's talk about your career here. You went from Murray to the Twisters?
No, I'm from Murray to the Jaguars.
Okay.
And then Jaguars to Canada.
Okay.
With Winnipeg and then Edmonton.
Yeah.
Came back from there. I signed with Seattle Seahawks. Then come back from there. And I went to the XFL in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
with the guy named He Hate Me.
I
Remember him,
remember it.
Rod Smart?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rod played at WKU, so I played against Rod in college.
Yeah.
And then from there to the Arkansas Twisters.
Yes.
And then from there to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And
And you had some success with the Cowboys, especially on the kick returns.
yeah, I was in my very first year at '01. I was a Pro Bowl alternate.
Yeah.
I was behind Steve Smith. I lost to him by 7 votes. Um, I made All Pro in my first year. I was pretty much the Cowboys highlights between myself and them trying to get Emmett to break the record.
Yeah.
Um, it was really cool to see myself on ESPN.
Sure.
It was really cool to see myself on video games, not having to create myself.
Right.
That was awesome. Just hanging out with people like Jamie Foxx and Lil Boosie and being around celebrities at that time like Bill Cosby, Patti LaBelle. That was an awesome time in my life, and I often wish that I had have sat back and lived in the moment.
Yeah.
But everything was that's a fast life.
Yeah.
And you're being pulled every which way. And so I became a celebrity. And instead of me getting photos and having fun with it, I looked at it as, like they should be asking me for photos.
Yeah.
And so I hate that I just lived that fast life and didn't vast in that moment of being around Jerry Jones every day, having access to Emmitt Smith,
Right.
and I still talk to Emmitt. But just, being around guys like that who are lifetime stars, Hall of Famers, it was such an awesome experience coming from Little Rock where I had a dream as a 13-year-old kid that I would go pro. And my favorite, like all-time player then and now is Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
And to be able to hang out with Michael Irvin and Michael Irvin call my phone, like when you say a dream, that's what dreams are made of.
Sure.
And that's why I tell kids, man, you got to figure out what you want in life. And people say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. No, put them in that basket. Go for all you know, because before you know it, you're 50.
Yeah.
And you're looking back like, man, I wish I had them.
Right.
Well, I don't wish I had them. I did. I put all my eggs there.
Right.
And even though I got cut a lot of times, and that's going to be in my book called Defeat and Rejection, I have these memories of like hanging out with Anquan Bolt, hanging out with Larry Fitzgerald, being around Roy Williams, being around Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Although I didn't play with Troy, I got a chance to know Troy very well when I played for the Cowboys. And so I look back and I see these guys on TV and I say, man, these guys know me.
Right.
God is good.
That's right. So now we're here.
Yeah.
You're in Jacksonville. You started out at Forest City. What brought you to Arkansas, high school game, all that? What was it that drew you to it?
Well, when I started youth football, my own team, the Arkansas Lions in 2013, my only focus was giving the kids a bigger stage in youth football, giving the kids a better platform, traveling, seeing what other states were doing, trying to give the kids more exposure.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I didn't even envision being a high school coach. I just didn't.
Yeah.
I was content with being a youth football coach till I was 60 years old and helping change kids' lives. A lot of my kids in my community, helping them to succeed in life. I just didn't know that I was going to be a high school coach. And my son, little Reggie Jr., he kept telling me to go be a high school coach. And my wife would say, go be a college coach. And I would always say, no, I'm cool. But you never know what God has in store for you. You have your own plans, your own agenda. But when he changes your mindset, and then, it changes. And one day it was, hey, you've done all you can do at the youth level. It's time for you to go to high school and now change these kids' lives and help put these kids in college.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because a lot of high school coaches would call me when I was coaching youth football. Now, this is before I became a high school coach. They would call me asking me to help get their kids recruited.
Yeah.
And so here I was coaching 10-year-old kids, but using my connections to call these colleges and helping kids get to college. And now that I'm in high school doing it, some of those same coaches got an issue with that because now it's making them do what I'm doing.
Right.
But it's also making them do what they should have been doing all along. I don't care about feelings. I don't care about how they feel about me. All I care about is that kid being happy
Right.
and that kid getting the offer. And the whole Mason Ball deal. Going back to Mason Ball didn't get 3 stars till a month ago.
Yeah.
He was 0 stars. He had 15 offers. And of those 15 offers, 14 came from me calling these folks. Said, hey, there's a kid I got named Mason Ball. Man, check him out.
Yeah.
And they would check out his film and offer him. So who knows, as good as Mason is, as good as he is, Mason would probably be going D2 if it wasn't for me because no one was advocating for that kid. So imagine how many kids are at these other schools that got the same talent Mason got, but no one's advocating for these kids. These colleges can't see every single kid. So sometimes these coaches got to make that phone call. Hey, I got a kid down here that you need to come see.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of noise about me and, amongst the high school coaches. And honestly, I don't care because I'm doing the Lord's work for these kids. And that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. You talk about the kids that may not be getting any kind of publicity or whatever because maybe coach ain't doing what they're supposed to do or parents ain't supposed to do whatever it might be. What do you feel like the talent level is in the state of Arkansas?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. But how do we know
Right.
if the coaches that see them every day isn't advocating for them?
Right.
Like right now, we here at Jacksonville. We have 11 kids here with a total of 70 offers between all of them. 70. And yes, I'm going to pat myself on the back on this one. Of the 70 offers, probably 65 came from me
Yeah.
and my phone calls. Right? So Jacksonville has never had this kind of publicity. It's not about me, but I do understand that my name and my background helps.
Sure.
That's fine. I'm going to use what I got to get what these kids want. And that's an opportunity to go to college and get an education and continue playing the sport that they love. And for me, from my youth football program, the Arkansas Lions, you know how cool it was last year in 25 to sit back and know that I had 19 kids playing college football that came from my youth program, 19 kids, and just had my first draft pick in April in Robert Spears Jennings from OU.
Yeah.
Who went to Pittsburgh. Like, that's the first kid that I've coached as a youth that is now in the NFL. That makes you feel good.
Sure.
So when you're in high school as a coach, it should make you feel good that when you coach a good game on Friday night, whether you win or lose, you go home on Saturday, you kick back, cut your TV on, and you watching your players that you coached the last couple of years.
Right.
That should be the freaking goal.
Right.
That should be the goal of every coach. And again, I don't care how many feathers I ruffle when it comes down to kids.
Sure.
I truly love seeing these boys here at Jacksonville smile. So as long as God give me breath, I'm making the phone call. And I'm gonna keep my slogan, if you ball, I'll call.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna continue to call every single day while these kids are balling.
You come to Jacksonville and the culture is starting to change here. I think before you got here, 0 wins, right?
They was winning like 1 game a year, 2 games
Yeah.
a year. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think they won 3 games maybe one time.
Yeah.
And we won 4 last year. And I didn't get here till May.
Yeah.
I had no off season. We playing our first game here against Little Rock Central in our benefit game. And I'm still calling players right? Because I'm still learning 70 kids.
Right.
Right. And so to have the kind of year that we had last year, and we lost 2 games on the last play of the game.
Yeah.
We should have been 6-4 and not 4-6. And so even though last year wasn't a good year record-wise, what we did in that first year, we changed the culture. We
Yeah.
changed the environment. You should have seen the bleachers every home game. They've never had bleachers packed for our home games.
Yeah.
And so that's what it's about. And when you go back to Forest City, it was the same thing. Took them to the playoffs after they had gone and in what 5 or 6 years there. And in my first year as a head coach, we make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And we was one play away from having a home game in the playoffs. And you look at a guy like Kevin Young, who was going to sign with Henderson State in February, until I made a phone call to Arkansas. I said, Coach Jack, there's a kid in Forest City that had 2,000 yards. He's going to Henderson State, and that's a good school. But he's a Power 4 kid. And they looked at it, and that very same day said, Coach, we want him. So if I hadn't called for Kevin Young is a Power 4 back. He would be at Henderson, which is, again, a damn good school. And their running back coach, who I coached him when he was young, Logan Mulroney,
Mm-hmm.
that's a great school. But this kid wanted to be a Razorback. And because I had the phone numbers of the coaches, I called, hey, coach, this kid at Forest City had 2,000 yards. He squats 550. He benches 325. He's a 4-4 guy. And they got him that very same day.
Yeah.
And he just reported 4 days ago.
Yeah.
So what if Kevin didn't have me advocating for him? You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so we have to get these kids out there.
Right.
We have talent in Arkansas.
Well, and it's changing lives too. I mean, you're giving a kid an opportunity to further their education, but also put themselves on a bigger stage.
Right.
Now, obviously, you aren't going to have all of them go D1. Some of them are going to go D2. But even at that point, they still have an opportunity to further themselves, but also get the education that they need to be equipped to do things beyond school. And then maybe they look at somebody like you and say, I want to be like you, and pass it down.
And go one step further. Some of these kids don't have a great home life.
Yeah.
So giving the kid a chance to go to college, it gets them off the streets. It gets them into an environment where they can become young men. And some of these guys don't have a male figure and a father figure. So when they leave us as a staff, they can go to a college and have more men that can help guide them further. So it's so much more than winning on Friday nights. And I think that too many coaches put too much emphasis on Friday night, trying to build their legacy, trying to win a championship. And don't get me wrong, I always say this, I want to win a championship. And I think that we are here in Jacksonville. But even more than that, I don't want my legacy to be Coach Reggie came here to Jacksonville and won 5 state titles and only sent 7 kids to college.
Yeah.
I want my legacy to be wherever Coach Reggie went, his focus was on the kids and seeing them go further. That's truly perhaps all I freaking care about is putting these kids in college or putting these kids into the military or a trade, giving them something besides, trying to be a rapper,
Right.
trying to be a singer or entertainer. Giving them something that's going to give them life beyond football. They can raise a family. They can get married, do all this stuff, but they can look back and say, thanks, Coach Reggie. The same way I do with Coach Nutt.
Yeah.
The same way I do with my little league football coach, Gary and Larry Gilmore. They help mold. The coaches are more than just men. We are people that these kids look up to.
Yeah.
And what's crazy, some of them got daddies in the house, but they look up to us more than daddies because they know that we can help them. We have the platform to help them.
Yeah, for sure. You're giving people something to look forward to, for sure.
You have to.
Yes, sir. I don't want to get into your team because I want to come down here and do other interviews. I want to talk to kids that you've got, but you are changing things here. You're in the tough 5A Central. I mean, it's going to be a battle every week for Jacksonville, but you seem to be putting yourself in a place to battle.
Let me tell you something. You don't be afraid of a big moment.
Yeah.
You don't be afraid because it's a tough conference. You strap your cleats up, you put your helmet on, your shoulder pads on, and you go out there and you ball. The old Jacksonville Titans are gone. We will be a competitive football team. We're not coming out not one game afraid of who's across that field. We have talent. We have confidence. We won our last 2 games last year by a big margin in beating Whitehall and Watson Chapel. We're not coming out, trying to win or hoping to win. We are expecting to win. That's the culture. That's the mindset here. Expect to win. Expect to be successful. Yes, we're going to make mistakes, but you don't get to where I went by hoping to get there. You got to know you're going to get there.
Yeah.
Some people are just ordained. I wasn't ordained, but I knew that I was going to the next level. When I got to Murray my first year, I told Coach Nutt, I'm here to go pro. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
So that's what we instill here, man. We just know that we have confidence. The weight room was great to us this offseason. Our kids' bodies have changed. We lost a few games last year because we weren't strong. We had no stamina. Our kids' arms were noodles. Well, you see our kids now, these kids are yoked up now, right?
Yeah.
So we put time in the weight room. Our strength coach, Coach Vincent, did a great job with our strength program. And so we're not afraid of anybody in our conference. We know that Joe T is the Mecca. We know this, and we damn sure respect Joe T. Coach Up and his staff over there done a tremendous job with their program. Coach Escola, he started it, and Coach Up came in and did a hell of a job last year. I watched him, right? You look at Greenbrier, you look at Parkview, you look at Mills, for making no mistake about it. We ain't running from nobody. We here.
I think that's a good one to end on right there. Coach Reggie Swinton here of the Jacksonville Titans, as he is giving us just a perspective of football and just where he's at with his program. We just want to encourage you to join us here at ASN. Subscribe to us for more content like this right here on Facebook and on YouTube. We'll check you soon.